Welcome. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Thanks, Harlan. And here we are. So, all right. So this is this. I think, yeah, this is where we are. Vayashev. So this is Abram at the time he's called that, and Eliezer, the two of them, at least according to a traditional understanding, get up and are able to defeat these major armies. Okay, it's a story and it's trying to make a point. So we've discussed the practicalities of it, and it's not necessarily trying to be practical. It has spiritual lessons to try to teach us. So they're successful. Vayashev et kol harachush, and they returned all the booty. V'gam et Lot achiv, and also Lot his brother, urichusho, and his property. Heshiv, he returned, he brought back. V'gam et hanashim ve'et ha'am, and also the women and the people, everyone that they had captured. So let's take a look if there is Rashi on this. No, there's no Rashi on this. So we'll keep going. Vayetze melech Sodom likrato, acharei shuvo mehakot et kedar laomer. So the king of Sodom went out to greet him after he returned from beating, smiting Kedar laomer ve'et hamelachim asher ito, and the kings who were with him, el emek shaveh, and that means to the valley that was smooth or even or plain, hu emek hamelech, which is known as the valley of the king. So here we go. We do have Rashi on this. Emek Shaveh, the smooth valley. Hach Shmo, this is its name, the name of it. V'targumo lemeshar mifneh. Okay, so he called in the Aramaic, it's called meshar, mafna. That's how it's translated. He translates this name, right, which is a little bit unusual. So it's called the cleared plain. Hanui me ilanot, it had been cleared from trees, umikol michshol, and from any other barrier that might be in this. So it's a very smooth playing field kind of thing, right? Emek Hamelech, the valley of the king. Beit Risa de Malka. So again, here we go. Beit Risa de Malka in the Aramaic. So he says Beit Ris Echad. So a ris, I believe, is an area, okay? And Rashi explains. So when it's called this area, so ris echad, one ris, shehu shloshim kanim, which is equivalent to 30 rods. Shahaya meyuchad lamelech. So this was apportioned strictly to the king, especially for the king, latzeit sham, and to go, litzachek sham, to play there. So it really was like a playing field, right? Umidrash agada, and there is a Gadic interpretation of this. Emek shehushvu sham kol haumot. So it's called again Emek Shaveh, right? That they all came together. They were like as equal partners, right? And all the different nations came there. V'himlichu et Avraham alehem, and there they crowned Abraham as their king. Lenasi Elohim ulekatzin, as a prince of God and as a captain, a leader. So there's a Midrash Agadah that after this happened. And from a literary standpoint, this makes sense, right? Because he and Eliezer had succeeded in doing all of this. So there's some support from the narrative itself as to why this would be called this at this particular place. So Abraham's stature became established at this particular moment. So we have another reason for this story in establishing Abraham's capacity as a leader. Melchizedek Melech Shalem, and Melchizedek, the king of Shalem, Hotzi Lechem Vayayin, brought out bread and wine. Vehu, and he, that is Melchizedek, Kohen Le'el Elyon, was a priest to God Most High. Interesting little statements here. So Melchizedek, who's this Melchizedek? Rashi says, Midrash Agadah, there's an Agadic understanding of it, who Shem ben Noach, that Melchizedek was actually another name for Shem, Noah's son, by the name of Shem. Lechem Vayayin, why the specifics? Why is the Torah being so specific as to what he brought out? Kach osim leyigi'ei milchama. That's what you do for those who are weary from battle. Ve'eralo, and in this way, Melchizedek showed him she'ein bilibo alav, that he had nothing against him, that Melchizedek was showing that he, as Shem, if we understand that Melchizedek is Shem, is that he had nothing against him. He bore him no grudge, al sheharag et panav, in the fact that Abraham had killed his sons, right, or his descendants. Umidrash Agadah, and again, there's Rashi's citing a lot of midrashic interpretations here. Remez or Ramaz law, he alluded to Abraham or Abram, al hamenachot, regarding the meal offerings. That would be the lechem, right? The meal offerings. Ve'al hanesachim, and regarding the libations, she'akrivu sham banav, that his sons would bring there. So we're understanding Shalem as being Jerusalem, and of course the temple was going to be ultimately built there, and they would be bringing offerings there. And we read in Leviticus and in Numbers how they would bring libations, wine, along with the offerings, and also offerings of flour and loaves of bread, etc. So again, you see how we're trying to, there's a suggestion of foreshadowing in what's going on here. And there's probably some deeper stuff that we could pull out of this. Okay, let's go on. And the fact, of course, that look at the support here, this Kohen Le'el Elyon, this foreshadowing of the temple in Jerusalem. Vayivarchehu, and he blessed him, that is Melchizedek blessed Abram. Vayomar, and he said, Baruch Abram, blessed is Abram Le'el Elyon, before God Most High, Koneh Shamayim Va'aretz, this is referring to God, who possesses the heavens and the earth, or who acquires, the one who acquires the heavens and the earth. There's some Rashi on this. What exactly does he mean by this? Go right into it. Koneh shamayim va'aretz. Right. So what is this? By the way, koneh basically means to acquire. So it's also a word we use to say to purchase, right? To buy something, because it's talking about acquiring something, the process of acquiring something. So he says, Kamor, this is similar to Tehillim, to Psalm 146, Oseh Shamayim, who made the heavens, Ba'aretz, and the earth. And Rashi explains, Al Yedei Asiyatem, because God formed the heavens and the earth, Kan'an Liyot Shelo, they belong to God. And this, of course, alludes to a whole issue and a whole question about possession, and the fact that, as you know, that so many of us think we own stuff, but at least from a biblical and Jewish perspective, we don't own anything. We may have the right of usage of something, but we really don't own anything, because ultimately, if we believe that there is a divine creator of everything, of the universe, and we didn't do it, okay, we didn't create the universe. And the truth is that whatever we do create is made out of things that were already created. And also we would say that our ability to do it is also something that's a divine gift to us. So understanding and trying to think carefully and to be mindful about the fact that God created everything. There's an interpretation of why we make a bracha before we eat anything, and that is because obviously we're consuming that particular item, and in a way, making a bracha is similar by acknowledging the ultimate creator of that item, is acknowledging to its creator and asking for permission. And that when one doesn't make a bracha, it's understood as, in a sense, that you're just appropriating it without actually acknowledging the owner, the ultimate owner of it. But the issue of ownership is actually a very profound issue. It influences a lot of decisions that we make. And I would say that if we had less of a sense of that and more of a sense of the fact that we are, in a sense, renters here, we're here as part of a passage, we might look at life very differently, perhaps appreciate it a little bit more too. So, sermon for the morning. Onwards, with this blessing that Melchizedek gives Abraham, Uvaroch El Elyon, and blessed be God Most High, Asher Migen Sarecha Beyadecha, who delivered your enemies into your hands. Vayiten lo maaser, and this is now referring to Abram. Abraham gave to him 1/10 of everything that he had. So the idea of tithing there. Asher migain. So this word migain is not a common word. Rashi's trying to help us understand the Hebrew here. So he says asher hisgir. So lasgor means to close or to close up something. And in that sense, in this context, in other words, the idea of your enemies free to do whatever they wanted, and by closing them up, essentially rendering them harmless. So he gives, yeah, go ahead.
Say it's not common, but isn't that Magen David, the shield of David? And when you shield someone, you're closing them off from their enemies.
Very nice, Lauren. Yes, there's no doubt in my mind that they are related. It's just this PL form of migain is an unusual way of formulating the word. And you're right. On the other hand, shield is more of a defensive thing, whereas in this particular case, it isn't that he protected Abraham, right? He delivered them, right? He delivered your enemies into your hands. So that's sort of the interesting derivation here and development of the idea of magen being a shield. No question about it. But where it no longer is defensive, but rather now proactive. So here we go. Amagencha Yisrael, your deliverer, O Israel. Vayitenlo, he gave him Avraham. So it's explaining who the subject is of this. Rashi's clarifying that, right? Abraham gave him Ma'asar Mikol Asher Lo. He gave him 1/10 of everything that he had, the Fishaya Kohen, because he was a Kohen. So again, all this foreshadowing here with the stories of the patriarchs. And that's, again, a high literary technique in the Torah. Onwards. Vayomer Melech Sodom el Abram, and the king of Sodom said to Abram, Tein li hanefesh, hand over to me, give me the souls, v'harachush kachlach, and the booty take for yourself. So this is, I think, a very significant passage here about Abram's character, and we'll see. Let's see if there's a Rashi, tein li hanefesh, give me the souls. So hagufim, right? In other words, he's saying, Rashi is explaining, or the editor is saying, the bodies min hashvi, from the captives, sheli, I think, okay, he says, they belong to me, shehit salta achzerli, that you, okay, this is the captives that are mine, that you rescued. Achzerli hagufim levadam. All you have to do is give me their bodies. I don't want their possessions, just give over their bodies back to me. So this is what the king of Sodom is proposing to Abraham.
But also I want to clarify, because when you say bodies, it sounds like you're talking about dead people, but you're talking about living captives.
Correct. We are.
They just want them themselves and not their things.
Correct. So he's saying that's, they were my subjects, you rescued them, and I'll pay you for having done that by your being able to hold on to all their possessions. Right. No, appreciate the clarification. Here we go. This is it. Vayomer Avram el Melech Sodom, and Abraham said to the king of Sodom, Harimoti yadi el Hashem, I lift up my hand to God, to Hashem, El Elyon, God Most High, Koneh Shamayim va'aretz, the one who acquired heaven and earth, who owns, right, heaven and earth. Harimoti yadi, Lashon Shvu'ah. This is an expression of taking an oath, that Abraham's expressing an oath right now. Marim ani et yadi, I raise my hand. Look at how universal that is as a sign of making an oath. El Elyon, I'm raising my hand to God of Most High. V'chein, and likewise in Genesis 22, Bi nishbati, through me I have sworn. Nishba ani, I'm making an oath. So I believe Bi nishbati has to do with through me I've sworn, and this is God speaking. V'chein, and likewise, and this is Abraham, who is taking another oath. Chen natati kesef hasadeh. This is where he's buying the field of Machpelah. I have given over the silver for the field. Kach mimeni, take this from me. Noten ani lecha kesef hasadeh. I'm giving you the money for the field, or the silver for the field, the kachehu mimeni, and take it from me. So I'm looking to see. Okay. Trying to see the context here. Okay. So again, I think he's saying this is a formal declaration and a commitment to what he's saying. Onwards. Im michut va'ad stroch now. If from a thread, up to a shoelace, he's saying, Im ekach mikol asher lach, if I take anything from you. So Abraham is saying to him, I don't want anything. I don't want any kind of reward. I don't want any kind of payment from you. And that's how he's expressing it here. And it's also a figure of speech. It means nothing, not something of the least value. Ve'lo tomar, it should not be said, so that it not be said, ani ha'esharti, or you shouldn't be able to say, forgive me, you should not be able to say, ani ha'esharti et Avram, I made Abram rich. So you can see that for Abraham, I mean, he's in fine shape, right? He's been amply compensated already by Pharaoh. We've read about how their flocks are doing this, but we know that for many people, they never have enough. They never have enough money, never have enough possessions, etc. And Abram's saying to the king of Sodom, I don't want people to say that somehow I benefited from you, because he knows how wicked the people of Sodom are, and he knows how wicked the king of Sodom is, and he doesn't want to materially benefit in any way whatsoever from the king of Sodom. He went on this campaign to rescue Lot, and he is satisfied with that. David, go for it.
So is he also saying, though, that I understand your point, but is he also the point here that, Abraham can't be bought? In other words, he doesn't want to appear that, he was paid, to essentially do this, right? His soul is not up for sale. So I guess that's kind of how I also interpret it. Maybe not correctly.
No. I think it's all part of expressing Abram's character.
Yeah.
That there's more to life than material benefits, and that in fact it's so important to be careful about how one benefits materially in this world, and one's reputation. And the truth is that of course, we know that there's a major statement within the tradition against bad-mouthing someone. And that is because when you destroy someone's reputation, I think it's like destroying their soul. It's equivalent to destroying their soul, and that your reputation actually is your soul. And so we have to be so careful to make sure that we live with integrity, and integrity is something that cannot be bought. And in this case, of course, Abram's integrity, he realizes that if he somehow benefited from this deal that the king of Sodom is offering him, his integrity would be impugned.
Yep.
So,
thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. So this is just simply the way in which vows are stated in Hebrew. So in English, we'd say, I vow I won't do this. But in Hebrew, in this particular way, it's said positively, even though he means it in a negative sense, that he would not want to take a thread or a shoelace from him. So, ekev la'atzmi min hashish, that I would hold back for myself from the captives. Right? He's saying, I wouldn't even do that. I won't even take that from them. Ve'im ekach mikol asher lach, or if I would take anything that belongs to you. I think this is saying, ve'im tomar, and should you say, latet lischar mibeit ginzecha, and if you would like to say that you will give me reward from your treasury, from the king of Sodom's treasury, lo ekach, I'm not going to take it. I don't want to take anything from you. Ve'lo tomar, so that you shouldn't say, etc. Shehakadosh Baruch Hu hivtichani. So this is Rashi is paraphrasing this by Abraham saying this. It's as if Abraham was saying, the Holy One, blessed be He, hivtichani, had promised me the ashreini, to make me wealthy. Shene'emar, as it says way back, the beginning of the story of Abraham, ve'evarechacha, I will bless you, etc. So I'm depending purely on God for this and not on you. I don't want anyone to hear you saying such a thing. So, biladai, not for me, not for me. Rak asher achlu hana'arim, but only that which the young men have eaten. So again, we have to understand this double meaning of the story of Abraham and Eliezer. And here, of course, the suggestion is that he took young men with him, right? V'chelek ha'anashim, and the portion due to the people, asher halchu iti, which went with me, aner eshkol umamre. So now we're hearing in the pshat level of understanding, because we read about how these three people were confederate with Abraham, so they should have something. Haim yikhu, they should take halek chelkam, their portion, their appropriate wages, so to speak, for what they did. But Abraham himself isn't going to take anything. So let's take a look here. Hana'arim. So the lads, right? Avadai, asher halchu iti, my servants who went along with me. Ve'od aner, and moreover aner eshkol umamre, those three people, etc. Ve'afalpi she'avdi nichnesu, avadai nichnesu lemelchama, and even though my servants also entered the battle, shene'emar Huva Avadav, it says earlier on, he and his servants, Vayakum, and they smote them, they beat them, Va'aner v'chaverav yashvu al hakelim, and Aner and his confederates sat and protected the the wagons and stuff like that, the vessels, the shmor to guard them. Afilu hachi, nevertheless, they should take their portion. Umimenu lama David, and from him, that is from Abraham, David learned. She'amar, he said, and this is in Samuel 1:30, kechelek hayored lemilchama, according to that portion of those who go down into battle, who actually see fire, right? Ukechelek hayoshev ala kelim, and likewise the people who guarded the vessels, etc. Yachtav yachloku, they should all divide to whatever they would be getting in as for entering this battle. Ulechach ne'emar, and for this reason it states, this is in the first book of Samuel, 25, I imagine. Vayhi mehayom hahu, and so it was from that day, umala, and henceforth, vayasima or yasimeha lechok u'mishpat, they made it a rule and a law, velo ne'emar vahala, and they do not say anything about it further. Lefi shekfar nitan hachok b'mei Abraham, and the reason why is that this statute had already been given during the days of Abraham. So I'm going to stop here for today. Excuse me. Okay, this is not what I want. Okay, so let me see if this works. Okay. All right, I will have to, looks like is a new system, and so the new system isn't allowing me to do this. All right, I will just put in this here. Any comments?
I was wondering, Rabbi, when Abraham came back from victory, with all the spoils,
Yes.
and all the children and women and so forth.
Yes.
and the king of Sodom was thankful that he was giving him back all that was taken from him. Why does he have to ask the king? Why does he have to? I mean, all the spoils was he giving all the spoils back to the king of Sodom? And the king of Sodom said, "Wait a minute, I want to give back all to you whatever you want. Well, it doesn't make sense to me, but what I'm saying is all his slaves that went to war for him, they should get something. Yes, they should. Abraham was wealthy already. He really didn't need anything. But I can't figure out the spoils, though. The spoils were given back to Sodom. The king of Sodom, and then he was going to give back some of them to Abraham and his slaves. And of course, Abraham's a righteous man. He wouldn't take any of that. But his slaves, the people that fought for him, should get something. And I'm sure that's what Rashi was telling us, that they did give him something.
So what I'm understanding, okay. So first of all, there's a basic principle that Abram's servants wouldn't personally own property. They would be dependent on Abram, and he would provide for them. So it seems to me that he's only saying whatever those who came and helped him, the young people who went in with him, they could in fact benefit in some way, that whatever they rightfully earned, whatever that would be, was okay. So, I mean, I think he is saying exactly that, but he himself doesn't want to take anything from the king of Sodom. And of course, this stuff originally a lot of the stuff belonged to the king of Sodom. So what exactly the king of Sodom is proposing when he says, give me the souls, does he mean all the souls? Does he mean some of them? I'm assuming, of course, that the souls are the ones who were captured, but it would have included Lot, etc., I assume. Anyone who'd been taken captive by those four kings. So regardless, I think the distribution is working out here. The main point that we're trying to get out of this is that Abram himself didn't want to benefit in any way from this particular individual. I mean, his money was dirty, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it. I'm going to stop the recording here.